Hi, I'm Matt Lucas, and today we are in historic Central City, Colorado, at the site of the Oddfellows Cemetery. We're here for the cemetery crawl. This is like the 20th year they've done this. Just kind of ran into it, and it so happens that our good friend Al Mosch's Aunt Madeline is going to tell her story. She's going to rise up out of the grave today. So we're looking forward to what we're going to see. It's a surprise to me too.
We don't know as much as we would like to know about this particular Oddfellows Cemetery, but we do know who's buried here. We can tell you that this cemetery was established in 1865, right after Central City had been established as a city.
My name is Thomas Hooper. I was born in the town of Hay in the Kingdom of Wales in 1844 on May 23rd. My father moved out to Colorado in 1845 when I was 1 year old and practiced as a physician in New York City, and later, due to the Pikes Peak gold rush, rushed out and ended up in Central City, where he later engaged in the wholesale drug business.
I am the spirit of Thorvald Crook. 1892, Mr. Kellerup and I decided that we were going to open an opera house in Blackhawk. And so we purchased a piece of property kind of across the street from where I was and discovered that the building was built on mine tailings and from a stamp mill. Now, stamp mill was a very inefficient way to extract gold. And so what we discovered was we could tear the floor out of our building and mine the tailings, and we were getting somewhere between 3 and 5 ounces of gold per ton of the tailings, and it didn't cost us much at all to buy the building because the person wanted to get rid of it. So we had a wonderful return on investment in mining the tailings of our building.
Hello, my name's MATTIE Mosch, and I'm buried right here. I was born in 1884 in Joplin, Missouri, and I came out to Colorado in 1918, and I was working in the mining camps as a cook, and then I met my husband, Walter Mosch. Now, Walter's family had been here for a long time. His father, George, had come out from Germany when he was 16, and he ended up walking all the way from New York to Colorado. And for 50 years, he was the marshal there. And in all that time, he never put anybody in jail. He would go out, and he would find the lawbreaker, and he would stick his gun in his back, and he would make him walk back to his pool hall in Toland with his arms in the air. And then I guess he figured that was punishment enough, because they'd have a drink together, and then he would let him go. Now, there was a little bit of talk that some of the really bad ones never did make it back to the pool hall. And Walter mostly was a miner, though. He was considered the best miner in this area. And he had a lot of mining stories he liked to tell, and his favorite one, though, was when in the 1930s he was working right over at the Boodle mine, right across the road there. And they were tunneling under, they were following an ore streak right under this cemetery. And one day they were blasting, and somebody's body came down on the rock pile. So they had to rebury the body. And it's kind of funny, but Walter ended up being buried in this same cemetery right here. Now, Walt and I never had any children. His brother Hans did. Alvin is his son, and Alvin's son David, they're both still in the mining business. In fact, Al has a mine over by Idaho Springs called the Phoenix Mine, and you can take a tour of it. In the 1930s, when Central City was pretty much dying, they started up the opera again. They fixed up the opera house, and so toward the end of my life there, I was always part of the opening ceremony for the opera festival. And folks started calling me the Queen of Central City. I died in 1967, and my funeral was right down in the Methodist Church down on Eureka Street. And they all sang Danny Boy, because that's my favorite song. You know, across the street from that church down there, too, there's a hotel called the Teller House. And there's a famous face on the ballroom floor painted in there. And this guy named Herndon Davis painted it in the 1930s. He did it right after he was fired by Ann Evans. And his whole life he would never say who the woman was that he painted. It was a big secret, and when he died in the 1960s, his two friends of his told the Denver Post that it was his wife, Nita. If it was his wife, Nita, why would he keep it a secret? What a bunch of baloney. No, it was Elsie, Walt's sister Elsie. She was a beautiful woman, and she was very popular with the men back then. She never got married until she was older, and that painting looks just like her. So I think I'm about out of time here, but thanks for listening to me, and I'm going to sing my favorite song as you start walking up to the next grave.
Okay.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. And come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so.
I was working down here, one of my buddies and I were up at the bar, and she was singing the song, and I don't hardly ever drink alcohol, but I had a little alcohol on me, and my buddy had a couple airline stewardess there gathered at the table, and before it was over, the one was hugging me and everything, and Aunt Mattie was on the stage staring at me. I was a little too alcoholic. What did she say? She's saying, "Go home to your wife, little Johnny, go home." It sobered me up quick.